Good morning, champions. Let me ask you something. How do you start your day? Because the way you start is the way you continue. If you wake up late, rushing out the door, already behind on the day, you've lost before the game even started. But if you wake up early, with purpose, with discipline, you set yourself up for a day of success. You see, success leaves clues, and one of the greatest clues is how successful people start their day. They don't roll out of bed when the alarm screams at them for the 10th time. No, they rise early. They prepare their minds. They take control of their schedule before the schedule takes control of them. You don't just wake up early because it sounds nice. You wake up early because it's the foundation for everything else. The quiet hours of the morning are yours. They're the time to think, to plan, to grow. It's when you set your intentions, read, pray, visualize, and move your body. The world is noisy, it's demanding, it's full of distractions. But when you wake up early before the chaos begins, you give yourself the greatest gift: time. Time to focus on what matters. Time to build yourself up so that when you step into the day, you're not reactive, you're proactive. And don't just wake up early, start your day right. Don't fill your mind with negativity. Don't let the first thing you do be scrolling through someone else's life. Instead, fill your mind with wisdom, gratitude, and vision. The first hour of your day determines the next 23. So I challenge you, start tomorrow differently. Wake up earlier. Take control. Don't let the day dictate your life. You dictate the day. Because when you win the morning, you win the day. And when you win enough days, you win at life. Now go out there and make it happen. The way you begin your day sets the stage for everything that follows. If you start in a rush, scrambling to catch up, already feeling behind, that feeling follows you. But if you start with intention, discipline, and purpose, you create momentum in the right direction. Think of it like a plane taking off. The first few moments are crucial. If the pilot doesn't set the right course, if the engines aren't at full power, if the plane isn't aligned properly on the runway, it doesn't matter how much fuel is in the tank. It won't get off the ground the right way. Your morning works the same way. You don't wake up early just to say you did it. You wake up early because it gives you control. It allows you to decide what happens first instead of reacting to whatever comes at you. Those early hours are your foundation. They give you time to reflect, to plan, to sharpen your mind. Some people let life happen to them, others take charge. And one of the simplest, most effective ways to take charge is to own your morning. When you wake up with purpose, you tell the world, I'm in control today. You set the tone for success before anyone else has a chance to set it for you. The mind is sharpest in the morning. It's the time when your thoughts are fresh, when distractions are minimal, when you can focus on the things that matter most. It's the time for big thinking, for gratitude, for planning, for personal growth. It's the time when you can ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be today? And then start moving in that direction. And here's the real secret. This isn't just about one morning. This is about building a habit, a pattern of success. A good morning leads to a good day. A series of good days leads to a good week leads to a good month, a good year, and before you know it, you've built an incredible life. One morning at a time. So if you want better results, if you want more success, if you want more control over your destiny, start with the first decision of the day. Start early. Start right. Because the morning isn't just another part of the day. It's the foundation of everything that follows. One of the greatest secrets to success is learning to be in charge of your time. Either you run your day or your day runs you. If you wake up with no plan, no direction, no priorities, the hours will slip away, filled with distractions, interruptions, and other people's demands. But when you take control of your schedule from the start, you set the agenda instead of being at the mercy of it. It all begins with a decision. A decision to structure your time instead of reacting to whatever comes your way. A decision to set priorities instead of getting lost in busyness. A decision to move with purpose instead of being tossed around by circumstances. Think of your day like a blank check. If you don't assign value to it, the world will spend it for you, and usually on things that don't move you forward. The urgent will always try to take priority over the important. Phone calls, emails, social media, random conversations. None of these are inherently bad, but if you're not careful, they'll steal your time without you even realizing it. That's why the most successful people plan ahead. They decide the night before what the next day will look like. They create a structure for their time, a framework that keeps them focused on what truly matters. They set goals, not vague wishes, but clear, actionable steps that move them closer to where they want to be. And here's what's interesting. When you take control of your schedule, you actually create more freedom. It might seem counterintuitive, but discipline brings freedom. When you're intentional about how you spend your time, you end up having more of it. Instead of constantly feeling overwhelmed, you move through your day with clarity and purpose. Instead of rushing from one thing to the next, you operate with a sense of calm and control. The alternative is chaos, letting the day dictate your actions, reacting instead of leading, wondering where the time went. But when you own your schedule, when you decide in advance how your time will be spent, you step into each day with confidence, and that confidence creates momentum. That momentum creates results, and those results create success. So don't just let the day happen to you. Take charge of it. Control your time before it controls you, because the person who commands their schedule commands their future. The first hour of your day is like the foundation of a building. Get it right, and everything that follows stands strong. Get it wrong, and the whole structure starts to wobble. How you begin your morning determines the energy, mindset, and focus you carry into the rest of the day. If you start in chaos, stress, and distraction, you spend the rest of the day trying to catch up. But if you start with discipline, clarity, and purpose, you move through the day with confidence and control. The first hour is where you set the tone. It's where you choose whether you're going to lead the day or be led by it. Some people wake up and immediately reach for their phones, scrolling through emails, social media, or the news. And before they've even had a chance to think for themselves, the world has already flooded their mind with distractions, negativity, and other people's priorities. They've lost control before they've even started. But the successful do it differently. They protect the first hour. They use it for growth, reflection, and preparation. They spend time in gratitude, reminding themselves of what they have instead of what they lack. They read or listen to something that expands their mind, feeding it with wisdom and ideas instead of worry and complaints. They move their body, getting the blood flowing, waking up their system, energizing themselves for what's ahead. And most importantly, they set an intention for the day. They don't just hope things go well. They decide in advance what they're going to accomplish, what attitude they're going to carry, what kind of person they're going to be. That decision made in the first hour creates a ripple effect. It influences every conversation, every choice, every action that follows. If you've ever had a day where everything felt off, where you were constantly distracted, overwhelmed, or behind, trace it back to the morning. How did you start? Did you take control, or did you let the day take control of you? The answer is always there. So if you want better days, start with a better first hour, guard it, protect it, use it wisely, because when you win the first hour, you set yourself up to win the day, and when you win enough days, success is inevitable. One of the most valuable things you can do each day is give yourself time to think. Not time to react, not time to rush, but real, focused time to reflect, plan, and gain clarity. Too many people move through life on autopilot, jumping from one task to the next, answering calls, responding to emails, handling urgent matters, but never stopping to think. And because they never take time to think, they never take time to grow. Successful people understand that thinking time is not wasted time. In fact, it's one of the most productive things you can do. It's the space where new ideas are born, where solutions appear, where direction becomes clear. Without it, you risk spending your days being busy, but never truly making progress. Look around and you'll notice something. Most people are distracted. They're constantly consuming information, social media, the news, entertainment, notifications buzzing every few minutes. But very few people take time to sit quietly and think, to ask themselves, am I on the right path? Am I spending my time wisely? What adjustments do I need to make? These are the questions that lead to breakthroughs. These are the questions that separate those who drift from those who design their future. And here's the truth. If you don't schedule time to think, life will never give it to you. The world is noisy, full of demands and distractions. And if you're not intentional about creating space for deep thought, you'll always be caught up in the chaos. The best time to think is in the morning before the world wakes up, before the phone starts ringing, before the demands of the day take over. It's in those quiet moments that you can reflect on your goals, align your actions with your vision, and make sure you're not just going fast, but going in the right direction. So make it a habit. Carve out time every day, even if it's just a few minutes. to sit in silence, to journal, to ask yourself the important questions. Because when you give yourself time to think, you give yourself the power to change. And when you change the way you think, you change the course of your life. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant in it will grow. If you fill it with weeds, negativity, fear, doubt, that's what will take over. But if you plant seeds of wisdom, encouragement, and possibility, you create a mindset that leads to success. Every day you have a choice to feed your mind with something positive or to allow the world to fill it with whatever it wants. And make no mistake, the world will fill it, but not always with things that serve you. Most people start their day by tuning into the news, scrolling through social media, or diving straight into problems. And without realizing it, they've already set the tone for the day, reactive, stressed, and overwhelmed. But the most successful people know that the first thing you put in your mind in the morning shapes the rest of your day. They guard that time carefully, choosing to feed their mind with something that strengthens them instead of something that drains them. It could be reading a book filled with wisdom. It could be listening to an audio that inspires you, that challenges you to think bigger. It could be reflecting on what you're grateful for, training your mind to focus on abundance instead of lack. Whatever it is, it should lift you up, not weigh you down. Your thoughts are like fuel. They determine how far you can go. If you constantly consume negativity, don't be surprised if you feel discouraged, unmotivated, or stuck. But if you fill your mind with ideas that expand your thinking, with messages that remind you of what's possible, you start to see new opportunities, new solutions, new ways forward. And here's what's important. This isn't a one-time thing. Just like you can't eat one healthy meal and expect to be fit for life, you can't feed your mind with something positive once and expect lasting change. It's a daily practice, a habit of strengthening your mindset so that when challenges come, you don't crumble, you rise. So be intentional. Start your day with something that builds you up. Read, listen, reflect. Fill your mind with thoughts that push you forward instead of thoughts that hold you back. Because what you feed your mind today determines the person you become tomorrow. Your body is the vehicle that carries you through life, and how well you take care of it determines how far you can go. If you neglect it, if you treat it like an afterthought, you'll find yourself lacking energy, motivation, and endurance. But if you take care of it, if you move it, strengthen it, and challenge it, you'll find that everything in your life starts to change. Your health, your confidence, your productivity, even your mindset. Motion creates emotion. The way you move affects the way you feel. Have you ever noticed that when you sit around all day doing nothing, your energy drops, your enthusiasm fades, your mind gets sluggish, and even small tasks start to feel overwhelming? But when you get up, when you stretch, when you exercise, suddenly you feel different. Your blood flows, your mind sharpens, and your energy increases. That's not a coincidence. That's a law of life. Successful people know that taking care of the body isn't just about looking good. It's about performing at a high level. It's about having the stamina to pursue your goals, the energy to take on challenges, and the resilience to keep going when others quit. They understand that physical movement isn't just about fitness, it's about fueling success. You don't need to become a world-class athlete. You don't need to spend hours in the gym. But you do need to move, walk, stretch, lift, run. Do something that gets your body in motion every single day. Because when you move your body, you move your life. You create momentum. You build discipline. You prove to yourself that you have control, that you're not at the mercy of bad habits, that you have the power to shape your health, your energy, and ultimately your future. It's not just about exercise. It's about the message you send to yourself when you do it. Every time you move your body, you're telling yourself, I'm strong, I'm capable, I'm taking control, and that mindset carries over into every area of your life. So make it a priority. Take care of the only body you have, because the better you treat it, the more it will give back to you. More energy, more confidence, more life. Move your body, and you'll move your future in the right direction. The first moments of your day are the most valuable, and how you spend them determines the quality of everything that follows. If you allow distractions to creep in early, they will control the rest of your day. The world is full of noise, messages, emails, social media, news, and endless notifications, all competing for your attention. And if you're not intentional, you'll spend your most productive hours reacting to other people's priorities instead of focusing on your own. Think of your mind in the morning like fresh cement. Whatever gets imprinted on it first stays the longest. If the first thing you do is check your phone, scroll through social media, or dive into emails, you've already surrendered your focus. Instead of leading the day, you're being led. Instead of setting the agenda, you're following someone else's. And before you know it, the hours slip away, filled with small distractions that add up to big wasted time. Successful people know that focus is one of the most valuable assets they have. They don't allow trivial things to hijack their mornings. They guard their mental space, choosing carefully what they let in. Instead of waking up and immediately reacting to the world, they take time to set their intentions, to think, to plan, to grow. They understand that distractions aren't just small inconveniences. They are thieves of time, robbing them of energy, clarity, and progress. And here's what's interesting. When you control your focus in the morning, it becomes easier to maintain it throughout the day. Your mind stays sharper, your decisions become clearer, and you operate with a sense of purpose rather than urgency. But if you start your day distracted, it's like trying to run a race with a weight tied to your ankle. You may still move forward, but it will be much harder than it needs to be. So be intentional. Before you let the outside world in, take control of your own world. Focus on what truly matters. Protect the early hours like they're the foundation of your success, because they are. If you can avoid distractions early, you'll find that the rest of your day follows your lead, not the other way around. Discipline is not something you find, it's something you build. And the best place to build it is in the first hours of your day. How you handle your mornings is a direct reflection of how you handle your life. If you can master the first part of your day, you can master anything, because discipline is a muscle, and the more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. Think about it. If you can get yourself out of bed when you said you would, if you can resist the temptation to hit snooze, if you can start your morning with purpose instead of delay, you've already won the first battle of the day. And when you win that first battle, it becomes easier to win the next one. Suddenly, making good choices doesn't feel like a struggle, it feels natural. On the other hand, if your morning is chaotic, undisciplined, and rushed, that pattern follows you. If you start your day by breaking promises to yourself, sleeping in when you said you wouldn't, skipping the things you know you should do, letting distractions take over, it becomes much easier to let that mindset carry into the rest of your life. You begin to negotiate with yourself in other areas, and before long, the lack of discipline in your mornings shows up in your work, your health, your relationships, and your results. Successful people don't wait until they feel like being disciplined. They train themselves to do what needs to be done whether they feel like it or not. And they start with their mornings because they know that small acts of discipline early lead to bigger acts of discipline later. Making your bed, exercising, reading, setting your priorities, these may seem like small things, but they create a habit of consistency, and that consistency turns into a lifestyle. It's not about perfection, it's about direction. Every morning you have a choice to start with discipline or to start with excuses. And whatever choice you make, it doesn't just affect your morning, it affects your entire day, your entire week, and ultimately, your entire life. So if you want more control over your future, start by taking control of your mornings. Because discipline in the morning isn't just about waking up early. It's about training yourself to follow through, to keep your word, to do what needs to be done. And when you build that kind of discipline, there is nothing in life you can't achieve. There's something powerful about getting up early. It's not just about having more hours in the day, it's about having the right kind of hours. The quiet, uninterrupted time before the world wakes up is when you can think clearly, plan effectively, and get ahead while everyone else is still asleep. Early risers understand a simple truth. Success doesn't happen by accident. It happens by design. And the best way to design a productive, focused, and disciplined life is to start the day before the rest of the world demands your attention. While others are rushing out the door, already feeling behind, those who wake up early are setting the pace for their day, moving with intention and control. Think about the most successful people you know. They don't sleep in and hope for the best. They don't waste the first hours of the day scrolling through distractions or stumbling into their work unprepared. No, they wake up with purpose. They use that extra time to develop themselves, to read, to exercise, to reflect, to plan. And because they start ahead, the reason early risers achieve more isn't just because they have more time, it's because they use that time wisely. They understand that those early hours are when the mind is freshest, when the energy is highest, when the distractions are lowest. It's the perfect time to work on big goals, to solve problems, to make progress that others struggle to find time for. But here's the key. It's not just about waking up early, it's about what you do with those early hours. Rising early without a plan is just as bad as sleeping in. The goal is not to simply be awake, but to be productive, to be intentional, to set the stage for the rest of the day. If you're serious about achieving more, start by taking control of your mornings. Use those early hours to invest in yourself, to build your skills, to get clear on your direction. Because when you consistently start the day ahead, success becomes a habit. And when success becomes a habit, there's no limit to what you can achieve.